Hey everyone, it's Sarah here, and we have an amazing and fun live stream coming up. First, before I dive into the fun part, I do want to say something to those much less fortunate who are expecting to be faced by hurricane today. Please stay safe. I really hope you stay safe and spared from any harm. So I will be keeping you in my thoughts. I'll be sending out a ton of positive energy, and I certainly look forward to regrouping over the next couple of days. See you, that you emerged unharmed, happy, and that everything is going to be okay. Now, with the live stream that I wanted to do today, what I wanted to share with you today is a much lighter topic. And yesterday, I was actually in the shower in the morning and I thought about something that my grandma gave me a while ago. And I wanted to jump out, I wanted to go find it. And it's a stack of old postcards. My grandma and I are really close together. And we have this special bond. And I remember when I was a child, like 5, 6 maybe, um, one day she opened this box and she had a stack of postcards that her brother, who used to be a sailor, would send to her from around the world. Like, not a place. There's no place where he wouldn't be and that we didn't get a postcard from. And I remember it was like opening a treasure. And we would sit down, my grandma and I, and we'd go through the cards, and she would tell me a story about every country from, of course, as, as a 5-year-old, my eyes and ears, like it was it was like being in a candy store. And she would tell me, we had a postcard from Japan with two geishas wearing this traditional outfit with their traditional shoes, and they were standing on what appears to be a pier in a water park. It was one of those Zen parks, and the colors were just so vivid, and their faces painted so meticulously. Every detail was exactly where it was supposed to be. Um, and I was just so drawn to this unusual sight because I had never seen anything like it before. And then she went on to explain to me the culture and the history of geishas and so on and so forth. Then there was a card from New York, and there was a card from Sydney, Australia, and it was a card even he even made it to Paris, right? There was a card with Eiffel Tower. Oh my gosh! And I would imagine in my own mind as a 5 and 6 year old kid, like, oh my gosh, one day when I would love to be there. I hope that one day I get to go there. Soon after, another brother, she had two brothers. So her other brother and his wife took a trip to Paris and they came back with photos from the Eiffel Tower. And I think at the time I was about 8 or 9. And I remember turning to them like, oh, I wish I could go to Paris and see Eiffel Tower. Well, a few years later, there I was. At 12 years old was the first time I got to be on top of the Eiffel Tower. My basketball team had a tournament to play in France, and Paris was just on the way to our destination. And this was the first time I was there, I think, out of 2 or 3 times altogether. So it's so amazing how those little desires can really turn into a reality. And I had the privilege and a great gift of experiencing through basketball was traveling because we traveled pretty much through the entire Europe with the national team, and it was just not the type of travel that usually comes to mind. When you have time to go sightseeing and all those stuff. Our primary focus back then was, of course, getting the business, taking care of the business, playing the games, but we still had time to look around to experience the culture, experience the food, meet new people, and make new friends. And it was just one of the greatest gifts that, as a person, one could possibly receive. And one of the most eye opening ones. And also, it shifts the perception, it opens your horizons, and it shows you things from different angle that go beyond what you know, beyond your own world. And this is the question, actually, the answer to one of my questions I posted recently in one of the travel groups. Hundreds of thousands of women are in that particular group. All of us love to travel. And when I found this group, it was like, wow, like early Christmas gift. So I posted a question. I was curious to know, what is there about traveling? What traveling gives to those women that they can get anywhere else? And the answers they gave were that it feels freeing, that it gives them a sense of well being, it allows them to go deeper into the soul searching, it keeps them out of trouble, it allows them to gain new perspective, it allows them to go beyond themselves and their world, it allows them to experience different things and create their own experience to begin with. It saves them from routine. It brings new friends into their lives. It allows them to taste different food, and it allows them to keep their minds open. And another one was the last answer was that it allows them to really get lost in the imagination. And when I read this answer, I started to laugh because it brought me back to when I was 5 year old kid going through all those postcards and in imagination, living out loud and living out in those places, imagining how those places could look like, how the people there would live. And I have to tell you that of most of those places, I have had the privilege to be there. Some, like I said, with basketball team, and then when I moved to New York and with my college team, we traveled a great part of the United States, and I have seen, again, been to many many places. And surprisingly, when my husband and I, then boyfriend, went on a first date, and I was like, "So, what do you do for fun?" And he said, "I love to travel." And again, it was like winning a jackpot when you go ding 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 all the nights. That's how I felt. I was like, "Oh my gosh, another person who loves to travel." So my husband and I, ever since then, we have traveled quite a lot as well. While I have been through most of Europe, he has explored Asia and the Pacific. We've been to Hawaii together and quite a few times. We have a timeshare there too, beachfront property that it feels like one of the dreams coming true again because it's so funny. When I was growing up, I was pretty picky eater. And I had my own principles, and my grandma always told me, like, what do you think this is a Hilton hotel? If you want to be spoiled, if you want to be, if you want somebody to cook to your order, go to Hilton. And in my mind, Hilton was always that standard of luxury and pampering and all the, 5-star experience. And I will never forget, I had no idea at this age what Hilton hotels, the conglomerate actually they have to offer. I had no concept. To me, it was just from my grandma's, renting. But the first time I stayed at the Hilton with my one of my basketball teams, it was like, wow, look at that. That's how it feels to be in Hilton. It was, it was very interesting. But it was very different from what I was used to growing up. My family and I used to go camping a lot. Every summer we'd go down to the Croatian coast and we would camp for a couple of weeks down steps from the Adriatic Sea. Those summers are still one of my favorite memories that I have of my childhood, of the feeling of freedom and falling asleep to the waves and the wind going through the trees and the sounds of cicadas. Cicadas? I think those are crickets. Funny enough, those are all around our house here in New York, so I get to fall asleep to the same sounds as I used to as a child. Amazing how life works out. So, my husband and I, even when our kids joined our family, that was one of the gifts that we really wanted to pass down onto them. And the first time my oldest one was on the airplane, was 3 months old, we went to a wedding to Minnesota, and she did amazing on that airplane. We did not even know she was there. She was just so, you know, calm and content. And as she was getting older, as she went on more and more trips, including to overseas to Slovenia and the other side to Hawaii, her excitement when the plane takes off, excitement even through turbulence, is like, oh, that was awesome. It was like, well, I'm grabbing onto my seat. It's like, please let it be over, please let it be over. She's like, oh, mommy, this is awesome. And she loves landing. The moment the plane lands, she goes, again, mommy, can we do it again? It's just so exciting to see the sparkles in her eyes and her little sister as well. Um, and I know a lot of people, a lot of parents have real reservations when it comes to traveling with kids, including one of my friends who, in my humble opinion, it's really unfortunate that she feels that she could only travel when her daughter reaches a certain age. I think she said around 7 or 8. In the meanwhile, there I am thinking, like, what greater gift you can give to your kid to immerse them in a different culture, to immerse them into this experience from a young age. And I really feel privileged to be able to give that to our daughters already. They have been, within just a year, they have been to Hawaii, they have been to Slovenia, they have been in a couple of places here in the States. They do really well in long car rides, they do really well on trains, on buses, on airplanes. It's like being raised in this, I don't even know, I don't know what word to actually use to describe that. But I never have to worry, if they're gonna be acting out in a certain way. I never have to worry about them having a temper tantrum or a meltdown in the middle of the airport, or um, having a screaming fit in the middle of the ride on a train or on the airplane. Because we have been through so much and we are really in tune with each other. And I think it was one of the great gifts that we gained through traveling, through having those different experiences, being through different environments, through different situations, and we learned together. Just like it was something for the first time that they have been through. I had never been through such experiences as a mom, and we have a thing that we say, even when we travel solo, just the 3 girls. Okay, girl teamwork. We're gonna help each other out. We're gonna work as a team, whether it's rushing down the terminal at the airport, or trying to figure out what train to take, or just huddling up to make it through the grocery trip. it really, it's not big of a difference. So I have to say, that from that angle, I really do feel that traveling purely enriches us. And I do understand on the flip side the reservations that so many people have. And some, yes, they definitely feel very logic, especially for business owners, right? Um, the fear and inability to even figure out how to step away out of the office for a few weeks at a time, how to get your business keep running while you're not there. Well, it's possible. I actually created 3 month leave for myself when I was the one delivering services to my clients. And I was still able to get away for 3 months without risking any quality of work delivered to the clients and without losing any pay on my end. So it can be done. It definitely can be done. Another one is, I can't speak the language. Well, most of the world does speak English, so if you do speak English, you're already way ahead. But let me tell you, even then, that should really not be a reason enough for you not to honor yourself with having this experience. And for whatever's worth, the first time 15 years ago when I moved from Europe to the States, I barely spoke any English myself, but I figured it out. You figure it out, you make it work. Um, Another one is we discussed it already about the kids, or the kids are too little, or the kids are not used to it. Well, if they're not used to it, how else are they going to get used to it? Just saying. or the destination is too far. Well, um, how can you make it, if a trip 12 hours to be on the airplane, yes, I can understand how it could be too far. Well, how can you break it down? How can you make it into smaller trips, smaller segments, sequences, or prepare yourself, by taking trips that are longer and longer and longer to ultimately reach that destination, maybe um, how far away from where you are, or the length of the actual duration of the trip, whatever it is. Um, what and how to pack. We're not going to do that right now, but there are some amazing tricks that you learn as you go, and I'm happy to share them with you if this is really the reason why you have not booked your flights yet. Um, where to stay, what to do, what to eat, just as the world could be your playground, there's nothing more simple than typing it up, Googling up, reaching out to people, asking those who have been there for recommendations. Um, we have never been more connected as we are these days. Resources have never been easier to obtain, information to be found, and decisions to be made. Quite honestly, because you can put it on the list, pros and cons, very quickly and go with the gut or go with the facts and decide. Um, one of the recent ones that somebody shared, the reason why they are not traveling is immigration laws. I understand this can be a little bit trickier, but it also requires a little bit more preparation. And when I mentioned in the post Vinca Pulka, Vinca is a dear friend of mine, and I remember when um, it was either right before I left to the States or when I came back the first summer. I believe it was right before I left that her book finally came out, um, Circling the Sun. And I read it in one setting. I devoured that book. So let me give you a little background who Benka is. She woke up one morning and she said, it would be so amazing if I could go around the world on a motorcycle. She did not have a motorcycle. She didn't even know how to ride one. That was just the details. She figured it out within a few months. She had a full plan. She had a sponsor. She set off for 2 years. Well, she came back 5.5 years later. Visited all 7 continents. She holds a couple of Guinness records. Was also the first woman to ride through Saudi Arabia. And in her book, she describes ups and downs and the challenges and the triumphs, and especially the cultures and how, there's no coincidences and the amazing people that she got to meet. And also, since it comes to immigration law, the setbacks of having to secure visas to go through certain countries in a specific timeline with a specific time frame and the obstacles. So when somebody said earlier that immigration laws are really keeping them from having those experiences, my initial response would certainly be to make a clear plan. What is it you would like to accomplish, and then work backwards. What do you need in order to be able to get there? How much time do you need to give to yourself? Where do you find the right documents? How much time is it going to take? How much resources is it going to take to make it all happen? And then go from there. Anything can be done. Absolutely anything can be done. When there's a will, there's a way, as they say. And it even rhymes. But I would really like to inspire and encourage those of you who are still kind of sitting on the fence and are like, you know, I would love to go, but be with that but. Why is that but so big? Can you shrink it in a way? Can you dissolve it in a way? Can you work around it? Because just as easy as it is for us to come up with the excuses, it's just as easy as it is for us to come up with the reasons and ways to create a solution. It really is. It just, you know, requires a little shift in perception and attitude. And I think attitude overall is that key that really sets apart those who have the blessed, who are living out loud, who are enjoying every moment, even when things might not go well, and those who are fearful and always dreading the experience, or, when always something happens to them. It really comes down to the attitude. So the next time when you feel inspired and this, it could be watching a movie, like, "Ah, I wish I could go there." Well, why not? You definitely can. Listen, if me, this 5-year-old kid who admired those postcards and was living out the imagination, can now turn around to you and say, those places that I wished and desired to visit one day are all in my passports and pictures in my albums that I'm now sharing with my girls and are looking forward to taking them there as the years go by. If that was possible for me, it is possible for you as well. And you are the only one who is standing in your way. It's not, business is not a reason. Your marriage is not a reason. Small kids are not a reason. Immigration laws are not a reason. At the end of the day, it is your attitude towards it and your determination and the strength of your desire and commitment to yourself and turning those desires into a reality. It really is that simple. It really is that straightforward. Everything else are the details, and those details can be taken care of. So, thank you for joining me, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll chat to you later. Bye.